Hopefully by now you've successfully completed the Desmos activity and done the matching so that you can answer the rest of the questions on this page. All of these questions actually involve looking at the matches that you made. So if you exited out of the Desmos accidentally, I recommend one of two things. First, if you did sign in to the Desmos when you were prompted to do so, it gave you the option to log in with Google. You might actually be able to log back in, re-enter the code, and go exactly back to where you were. It might remember all of the matches that you made. If you forgot to sign in with Google and you since have closed it, another option is to just reopen it, restart it, but use the answer key, which you'll find in the learning plan, to help you quickly remember some of the matches that you made. Since if you wrote them down, you could always just go back and quickly rematch them, or you can check the key, especially if you think you got some of them wrong. In any case, keep that screen open, either in a new tab on this device or on a whole separate device if you happen to have more than one thing that you can use, so that you can look at the screen as you answer questions 21 through 24. Because 21 through 24 are basically going to ask you observations that you made. So making observations is usually most helpful when you actually have something to look at, something to observe, if you will. Question number 21, for example, is going to ask you about arithmetic sequences. Those are sequence cards with adding or subtracting patterns. If that phrase is new to you, arithmetic, you might want to highlight it just to make note of that vocabulary, because you'll hear me use that phrase a lot throughout the chapter, and it's definitely important to recognize it when you hear it as arithmetic, meaning adding or subtracting. So I'll sort of color code this so you can make that association. Arithmetic sequences are patterns that had an adding or a subtracting pattern to them. So if you go back and look at your Desmos screen, go back specifically and look at the cards that you did, either on the first set of cards or on the second set of cards. See if you can pinpoint the ones that were arithmetic, the ones that either had an adding pattern or a subtracting pattern to them. List their letters in the space for letter A, and in letter B, look specifically at the blue cards for the arithmetic patterns that you found. In letter B, it says, what do their equations have in common? Those were the blue cards. So see if you can look a little bit more closely at the blue cards for all of the arithmetic or adding, subtracting patterns, and try to pick up on some similarities. What do you notice? Do they all have something in common in terms of structure? Are they all written the same way? Are the numbers ordered in a specific way? Do they all have the same variables? Try to be as specific as you can in this space. Once you understand what the arithmetic sequences are all about, the next question, question number 22, is about geometric sequences. Geometric sequences, again, might represent a new phrase for some of us, but geometric sequences are sequences that have a multiplying or a dividing pattern. You probably encountered quite a few of those when you were doing the Desmos as well. So just like you did with the arithmetics, question number 2 is going to ask you to go back and look at your geometrics. Which patterns had either a multiplication or a division involved? Try to make a list of all of the letters that represent those sequences, and then try once again to look at their blue cards. For part B, it's going to ask you to look at the blue cards and specifically try to delve a little bit deeper. What do all of those blue cards have in common? As an added little thought exercise, it may also be helpful to think what makes the blue cards from the arithmetic family different from the blue cards in the geometric family. You should probably notice some pretty major differences. The structure of the equations, the way the numbers look, even the way the variable looks is very different in an arithmetic versus a geometric equation. So have that screen open and start to kind of sort those things now into two different families, the arithmetics and the geometrics. The nice thing about Desmos is that you can click and sort even if you're already done with all the matching, so you can drag and drop the cards around, and try to drag and drop the cards on two different sides of the screen. Try to have one side of the screen be all of your arithmetic things, adding and subtracting, and another side of the screen be all your geometric things, your multiplying and dividing, and see if that helps you kind of tell the difference and compare and contrast the two different families. In the next video, we'll talk specifically about questions 24 and 25, but for now, take some time for your own observations. Questions 21 and 22 don't specifically have an answer on the answer key necessarily, because it's all about what you observed and what you noticed. So try to use your best observational skills here. Between now and the time that you do the next video, check your answers, make sure that you have the correct idea of what truly is arithmetic versus what truly is geometric, and make sure those terms are familiar.